I'm Pastor John Stewart. I'm the senior pastor at Mount of Olives Lutheran Church in Mission Viejo, California. I've been here a long time as the pastor or senior pastor of the church, about 32 years. And so I've seen a lot of various building projects that we've done and expansions. But I got to tell you that the work we did with Building God's Way was tremendous. We first realized many years ago, we bought the old Mission Viejo library a little over 30 years ago. And we bought it with the intent, based on something a consultant taught us, about having a dedicated space for middle school, high school, and college youth. So we bought the library and we spent money converting it, and we even put our church office in half of it. And we learned a lesson out of that, of the value of having a dedicated space, especially for youth and children ministry. Because so often in youth ministry, they share it with adults. And you got to take your artwork down or whatever it is you're doing, you got to make room for the adults. By having a dedicated space, we were able to, for many years with middle school, high school, and college youth, be able to just design the building, have the kind of music and all the kinds of things that we needed to do just for that age demographic. So then by the time we came to realize we needed to do the same thing in children's ministry, we weren't sure exactly where to put the building or how to do it. And so we enlisted the support and the help of Building God's Way. And Don Mahoney came out. I'll always remember this. Don Mahoney came out and did, I think, a 2 or 3 day study of our church. And he would do research here, talk to people here, and then in the evenings he would call his staff back in Utah and consult about this project here. And then at one point we had a meeting where with the building committee and some church staff and some particular leaders, and he gave us his presentation of what he concluded. And I'll always remember sitting there, and he had a screen out in front there, and electronically he said, "I know you want to put the building over here," which was our current playground area where our preschool was, and we were going to move the playground. But he said, "You know what?" He said, "I'd like to move it." And he electronically moved it to a different location. And he said, "I want to move it for 2 reasons. Number one, parents want to be closer to their children." This was going to be a children's building, dedicated space for Sunday school. Parents want to be close to their children, and this would have been right out the door of the worship center. And then he said, "And I want to put this modern building in front of your 2 older buildings to give you a different curb appeal." And I sat there thinking to myself, oh my goodness, there's going to be people in this congregation who are going to have a conniption fit. There were people who are a part of the starting of the congregation of that time who had helped build the stained glass windows, and I didn't know how this was going to go down. But I called a bunch of them and I asked them to show up the next night for a meeting with the members of the congregation. He made the same presentation and everybody fell in love with the idea. The point I'm making is that we would have never thought, as Don Mahoney did, we would have never thought of the idea of moving it to be in front of the 2 old buildings and to give our campus a different, younger curb appeal. We're a church of 57 years age, and so to have a younger curb appeal was more important than we knew at the time. We didn't realize the importance of doing that and also having it nearer to the parents as they were coming out of worship. If it hadn't been for Don Mahoney and Building God's Way, and that would have never happened. And so we didn't know what we didn't know. And so I highly would support your congregation engaging Building God's Way to help you in that process. And so we built a building, $5.5 million building, about 13,000 square feet. We hired a company called Wacky World that came and did the interior. We spent almost $200,000 on that, and it looks like Toon Town on the inside. We've got cartoon-like trucks and a streetcar on the top floor and backstage at the theater, and as a kid magnet. And we're drawing new families all the time because of the building that we have. And so I will always be grateful to Don, the 2 Dons, and Building God's Way for the great counsel, advice, and wisdom they brought to the process. We would have never thought of it. Their involvement was essential to our success today. So thank you to the 2 Dons, Building God's Way. We're always going to be grateful to you.